If you're watching this video and you're already past 25 years, all right, these are the 7 financial traps that you're supposed to avoid at all cost because they are very, very costly and can actually or lead you to a place whereby you can say you're in a what we call the financial conundrum. And guess what? This video, I'm going to share with you all 5 of them. As you have seen, I've listed all of them. And guess what? You see, if you can identify up, for example, let me ask a very simple question. Right now, as we speak, probably there's something that you regret about. What if you were informed before you actually got yourself into that ditch? Would you, let's say you're in a marriage that is so toxic, like what if you were given an information like, hey, before you go, this is how it's gonna be? Would you actually get yourself into that? No. And you knowing those repercussions before you actually get them, that's what we call the wisdom. Now, avoid these 7 financial traps that can lead you into what we call the regrets. And you know what? If wishes were who? Definitely you know who would write them. Let's get on the business. Then don't forget, this is Good Joshua speaking. And if you've been watching my videos without subscription, oh, come on. Go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe. Leave me a comment on the comment section. And if you're in a position to, share this video with your friends, families, and what have you. So even if you'll never make the world a better place, so we can make our pockets. Point number 1. Starting a family too early or maybe prior a plan. You're supposed to have a plan. Guess what? I know it comes with good thing, feeling good. You love the person, you love the kids, you want to do the thing. The community is telling you, go get married, get the kids, get what have you and everything. But guess what? It all trickles down back to you. See, most of the people tend to operate under what the community is expecting them to be, but not you who you want to be. So the point is there's nothing wrong getting a family and what have you, but getting into it without a prior plan that can lead you into problems. You know what? Those guys who are already in marriage, who are forcing you, pressuring you to get into it, there's something they never tell you. They never tell you it actually comes with a cost. Have you ever checked how much it costs to actually educate kids, to pay their tuition, to pay for your school fees, to maintain the kids and making sure, I'm telling you, it comes with a whooping a lot of stresses deep inside of yourself. Yeah, I know it comes with a pride. In Africa, the moment you get a kid, you're no longer called by your name, but you're called by the kid as a show of respect. I mean, whatever, it is what it is, but that comes with a cost. So be careful before. See, I have somebody who was texting me at around 23 years and he was telling me, hey, you know what, Joseph, do you think it's the right time for me to marry? And I was like, okay, I cannot say this is a specific time to marry, but let me just ask a question, Sam. Like, what exactly are you motivated to? Why are you? Because I have a shop that is worth 300,000 Kenyan shilling, that's like $3,000. And by the way, I just feel like I need somebody, to be with me. And I said, okay, fine. Apart from that, what the other reason? Like I have a $300,000, 300,000 Kenyan shilling shop. Did I tell you that? And where do you want me to take all this money? I said, bro, you're calling 300,000 all that money? Yo, we have people who are earning millions of money. They're not yet married. Why are you on rush? After all, you're only 23 years old. Come on, be very careful. And probably the lady that you're going to marry is probably younger than you at 21, 20 or something of sort. You can just imagine that couple, how it will be. I'm not saying you shouldn't marry. Be very careful. It is good to have a plan. Understand that comes with own, what we call, expenses and what have you. So maybe you got your job for the first time, you are 25, 26, 27 or something of sort. Do not get yourself into some things because you're being pressured by the society. But once you arrange once you plan yourself, everything is in place, then you can be able to bring forth them and be able to move together. All right, that is point number 1. Point number 2 is getting into, guess what? Getting into debt just to finance your what? Lifestyle. Getting into debt to finance your lifestyle. It is one of the worst things that you can ever do. For example, let's say you just got employed in a company, barely you're 26 years old or 27 or even 25 years old. And then you're in this company, you're actually trying to sort of compare yourself with guys who've been working for the last, 10 years, 15 years, young guys, they are driving, they have their, those nice cars and what have you, the Subaru, like the young guys would love and what have you. And then you're like, well, I think I'm quite lucky. I'm earning 100,000 each and every month. So I can actually go ahead and get a loan, maybe of 1.5 million and get myself a car so that at least when they talk about road trip, I'm also having my own car. We can throw parties and what have you. Fine, you'll enjoy. I'm not denying the fact. But at what expenses? What if you get fired? What if something happens? Are you putting your emergency fund in order? Are you actually considering that in future more responsibilities will come and all those kind of things? do not have these things, we call them the instant gratification. It's try to sacrifice a little bit. But of course, I'm not saying that you live in a quite of a dull lifestyle or something. No. Throw parties, in a regulated manner. That's why you always say, hey, you can go ahead and apply what we call the 50, 30, 20%, where you take 50% or half of your money towards catering for your expenses, 30% goes for your entertainment, and 20% goes for your investments. That is exactly how we do with the thing, all right? So rather than just being out there and throwing all money into the dustbin in terms of you enjoying and what have you, getting those loans, maybe going to live in a very expensive place, in exotic place, just want to prove to people that indeed your life is okay. There is nothing wrong with living in those expensive places. We all love them. I love them. You love them. But obviously, achieve them at a time when you can afford them. Can you imagine this? You go get yourself a car for a loan, and it's quite expensive. You really serving. They're deducting quite huge of a chunk of cash from your salary. And then guess what happened? You bring that car in the midst of your guys and be like, whoa, 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 nice car. And then after that, we forget. You go back to your normal loans. You struggle with those loans and what have you. And the car is depreciating. It's not even an investment. All right? So, and again, be very careful when you consume this information that you see on the social media. People pressuring you, people wanting this, move on your own pace. Move on your own pace. All right. And when I say move on your own pace, I don't mean like you shift to the low, to the slow pace or the slow lane. No. Make sure that you work as much as you can. Aspire to be like them, but of course, use the appropriate route to achieve that specific thing. To avoid going the shortcut way, avoiding in funny investment that are being told here. I don't know, we mine crypto, we do this, we invest this, you do, those funny returns and please, and by the way, you guys who are inboxing me telling me, Joseph, can you verify for me whether this company is legit? Don't ask me those questions. I don't know those companies. The things that I talk about are the real and legit things that I talk about when it comes to investment. Asking me, I don't know, funny name of a certain company, they told me that if I put 100,000, I will be getting 50,000 each and every day. Who told you that? Ulisikia wapi? That's what we say in Kenya and Tanzania. Ulisikia wapi? Anyway, the point number 3, trying to solve everyone's problem. This is another issue that I've seen people trying to do. For God's sake, you've just got employment. And trying to please everybody by trying to solve their issues. You cannot do that. One thing you're supposed to understand is that human needs are quite infinite. I don't know whether that's the term. You cannot be able to fulfill them. The moment you give them this, they need the other one. They give that, they get this, you need the other. No, 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 no. You'll never get satisfied. It's good to be gratitude anyway, human beings. But at the same time, you cannot be able to solve everyone's problem. Try as where you can, but that does not mean that you're supposed to leave yourself bare, where you do not save anything for yourself. And in simple terms, I'm talking about the black tax. In Africa, it's real. It is good to make sure that at least you understand what goes where and why, so that at least you don't get yourself into problems. Because I've seen people, you get your first job, everyone is hanging on your shoulder. Your back is not even strong enough to hold everyone. You even break your back. First of all, strengthen your back. Be good. Financial muscles. Once you do that, then you can be able to hold all of them. But if you just let them jump on your back, you're not even gotten yourself. You crumble. And once you crumble, guess what? You bring them, all of you down. You down, all of them down. And then you be in a situation whereby even taking yourself back to on feet, it is one of the hardest things that you can ever do. So understand this. As much as you want to help them, as much as you want to support them and all those kind of things, you have also to understand you cannot solve everyone's problem. They also need to do something for the sake of their lives so that at least you can all guys move together as you move to the next level. Please, please never forget those terms, okay? We got the point number 4. Buying a car that you can barely afford. Or let's say, just because you can afford, just because you have like 1.5 million or 2 million, something, doesn't mean you should buy a car. It may be a want, not a need. Because I've seen people falling into this trap. You just buy. Some people also buy properties. Like you find somebody goes and buys some parcel of land somewhere, oh, how much is that land? 1 million. Oh, I have it. So you go buy that thing. And then after sometimes you'll be like, I think that was not the best decision. I think I could have done. Don't rush into making decisions. Don't let that money in your bank account or in your investment really disturb you. Just take your time. Just relax. Develop what we call a good relationship with your money. Just because you have it does not mean you should be. Just because you see something that you can afford does not mean you should buy it. Just because you've seen a very big telly, maybe 85 inch or 100 and whatever inch, and you feel like, hey, how much is it? 85,000. I have it. Does not mean you should buy. Just ask yourself, do I need it? Do I want it? Learn to actually differentiate those two things. Do I need it? Do I want it? In that case regard, you'll be able to get that what you need and salvage that cash that you could have bought that what you thought you did but you wanted towards the investments, and that's how you propagate yourself to the next level. I'm not saying, did I say car bad? No, I personally extremely love cars. I love cars, even the most, even the most expensive ones, even the most exotic ones. But the point is this: you have to use a certain procedure and ways how to acquire that car. And I know most of the young people argue from the point of, hey Joseph, hey, this life is short. A time will come when you realize it wasn't short as you thought. It's actually way long, especially if you're suffering. Yeah. Can you imagine sleeping outside when you don't have the roof on top of your head and a blanket to cover yourself? How long is the day? Probably you think it's a whole week, yeah? The same case applies. But if you're sleeping in a king size bed with a very fluffy pillows and nice music or whatever the thing you call it, guess what? You feel like 12 hours was like an hour. That's exactly. A time will come if you do all those jokes here and there, you think that is too long. The moment you clock 30, I love those people who say life is too short. I love to see them when they clock 30 years old or 35 years old. That's the time they see a year as if it's 10 years. Point number 5. A debt against your salary to just acquire what we call an asset that is not generating a cash flow. What does it mean? You take a debt. For example, you are earning 60,000 and then you take a debt of 1.2 million to buy land, and then you're supposed to pay 25,000 or 30,000, and then that to pay that loan for the land that you acquired. And that money is actually deducted from the salary that you're getting at the end of the month in the name of acquisition of an asset. And that asset does not generate any income. You already know where I'm heading. By the way, you would rather even take that loan of 1.5 million, go lease a land somewhere, and then do animal fattening. It makes sense because those animals, after 5 months or 3 months or whatever the period of time, you can liquidate those animals. You're getting something. Now you go buy yourself 1.5 property somewhere. That land does not generate anything, does not give you any income. It is just there idle for the next another, and then you take another 4 or 5 years to pay back that loan. And then after 5 years, now you start now taking another loan, maybe 3 million. You take another 10 years to build your own. What are you doing? What are you doing? Invest first. Buy properties and assets that are generating cash flow. Cash flow. Again, don't take loans and put it in a money market fund. Actually, I always get that question. It's not wise. That's not what we do. We got the point number 6. Or point, yeah, sure, number 6. Not having a budget. That's a financial trap. You should not have a budget. I mean, rather, you should have a budget. Not having a budget is actually a problem. And the last point, that one does not even need an introduction. The last one is not saving at all. You don't have any savings. You don't invest. You don't save. You don't do nothing. You're just there. You get 100,000, you squander everything. You get another 100,000, you squander everything. You don't do nothing. You don't invest. You throw parties. That is actually a recipe of failing, and that's a recipe of actually regretting in future. That's good, Joseph speaking. That marks the end of my video, just like I promised, 15 minutes. And yeah, we are below that. But anyway, it is what it is. Don't forget to leave me a subscription. Make sure that you like the video and leave my comment on the comment section. For now, it's a goodbye and see you in the next one.